All right, hold on. You're green? You're green?
I'm green. You're green. Am I green?
Yeah, you're green. All right, everyone. Welcome back to a special episode of I Can Do This All Day. I am Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there. We're here together. We wanted to come together and discuss something that was so important that somebody got on a plane, dressed up nice, and brought himself to the Resident Jedi's house to talk about a movie that has such rave reviews, and that is Kpop Demon Hunters.
Kpop Demon Hunters, the Netflix juggernaut, apparently. It's the most viewed movie on Netflix as of right now. And that is beating out Red Notice with Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson. I need to break down the origin of this. I had seen this on Netflix, but I knew nothing about it, and I'm not really into K-pop. However, one of my friends, Jeff, shout out to you, had said this is the best movie he's seen all year. And I trust him in his movie opinions, and I figured, you know what, that should be deserving of it. And when he had said it was the same studio that did the animation for Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I thought, okay, cool, this is going to be worth watching. So that remains to be seen. We will talk about that in just a few minutes. But Mark, give me your origin story with Kpop Demon Hunters. Was it me just twisting your arm and saying, let's watch this?
It was 100% you. Because for those of you that don't know, Dan does not watch animation willingly. It is usually an arm-twisting adventure. And I'm like, oh, this must be really violent and like edgy and R-rated for Dan to want to watch this. It has to be terrible, like in a great way. So I guess I'll watch this. It's on Netflix. I have a subscription. We're all good.
What about K-pop in itself? Are you a K-pop fan?
Do I look like a K-pop fan to you? I don't think I do. No, I am not a K-pop fan. I'm not a boy band fan. I'm not a girl band fan. I'm just not in anywhere of this music genre. So I was leaning into the Demon Hunters portion of this in a big way. I'm not even like an anime fan. The Star Wars animated is where I let it come in. I watched the Kevin Smith He-Man animated. Like, I won't not watch something because it's animated, but I'm not manga, anime, or K-pop. I check no boxes.
Fair enough. I'm not a big anime fan, but you know what I am a fan of is the guy on both TikTok, Facebook, Instagram Reels where he talks like an anime character. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he's like,
No.
Oh, wow, I think there's a gamer girl in this lobby. And so he's like just talking about that as he's playing Call of Duty, or at least that's what's playing in the background or something. I'm not sure if it's just a completely fabricated thing, but I don't know. That's pretty funny.
That would not make my algorithm. That actually would be pushed away as far as possible from my algorithm.
It's funny. Anytime people are playing video games and just being a troll, I think it's funny. But yeah, no K-pop fan for me. I can't even name a K-pop band besides BTS, and that's the only one that I know of.
Behind the scenes?
Is that what it stands for?
I have no idea because I don't know who they are.
BTS, internet, chime in here. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to look it up online, even though there's two computers in front of both of us right now.
These are just for show. They're not even hooked up to the internet.
I never really got into Dragon Ball Z, or I think Naruto is one of them now. Like where everyone runs.
Naruto?
Is it Naruto?
I think it's Naruto.
Okay, whatever. But either way, that's my extent of it. I figured that this would give me a good reason to kind of go into something different. And I like to expand my horizons. I'm not completely shut off to everything animation. I mean, we watched that DC animation one, and that was pretty sweet. I think we should go back to that because there's a lot of good stuff that they came out with. But I don't know, maybe we're telling our hand just a little too soon. But what were your expectations going into this movie?
I expected it to be over in an hour and a half. And it was. So that made me happy. This was one of those, like, Dan wants to watch it. It's 90 minutes. Who cares? I'll throw it on kind of thing. I watched it on my phone. I know so many people have, like, they've gone to the theater. This is done so well in theater. And I don't it's not that I don't understand why. It's that I'm not the target audience for it. But yeah, I watched it on my phone in the background. this is one of those I consider the visuals in this movie are great, but they're also predictable. Like they're a high quality animation with some fight sequencing and not really that many visual sight gags. They stop for the sight gags and make it a thing, like the cat with the pot and stuff. So I didn't like sit down and watch the whole thing. I paid attention. I was, watching it and going back and forth. But yeah, for me, it was, I will take in the story and, just because the reviews all made it seem like it was this redemption arc and this really deep, surprising story with twists and turns. Like it was Usual Suspects, but Demon Hunters.
I mean, it is 97% on Rotten Tomatoes at this particular moment. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, not our favorite. Are
you on Rotten Tomatoes right now?
I am not.
Okay.
Why do you need me?
I was going to say, if you were on Rotten Tomatoes, I'd also like you to look up Buffy the Vampire Slayer and see what the reviews are for that movie, because I would say that this movie is so Buffy.
Are you talking about the 1992 Buffy?
Either Buffy.
Okay.
Either Buffy, because they both follow a very similar plot line of girl saves world.
37% on Rotten Tomatoes for the original Christy Swanson-led Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And R.I.P. Luke Perry was also in that.
Yes.
5.7 on IMDb. I'm not a Buffy fan. My wife is a huge Buffy fan. I was never really into it. It's entertaining. I think the show is better than the movie, but I don't know the parallels because I don't recall a whole lot about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I haven't watched that movie in 20 years, but I was just like, oh, they're killing demons.
That's over 33 years old,
that's old
that movie. So, kids, if you don't know what Buffy the Vampire Slayer is, you think it's an old TV show. It was actually an old movie before the TV show.
And these people are like, Luke Perry wasn't on Buffy.
Who's Luke Perry?
And who's Christy Swanson?
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at for this stuff. But my expectation going in, I just thought it was going to be kick-ass because it was the same animation as Spider-Verse. I was thinking, all right, we're going to see some really cool, awesome animation scenes. Obviously, we're going to hear some K-pop songs, but I didn't know anything else. I went in completely cold, and they give us an outline right off the bat as to what's going on. So these K-pop stars, there's a long lineage of it, and they basically sing their songs to create a barrier around the earth to protect them from demons. I thought right there, I can see now why they would have something like this in terms of story plot point, because why are there so many K-pop bands, and why are these people even singing? Well, to keep the world safe, and apparently they also kill demons.
You didn't realize that we did no emotional connection to any of these characters or their origins whatsoever, and there was no opportunity for Easter eggs or Stan Lee cameos in this. So all of the things that we can be like, oh yeah, we couldn't hear because we're not K-pop fans. At least I'm not. And like this wasn't based on a different demon-based Inuyasha Ghost in a Shell. That's me just saying random anime show names. Anything that resonated with us. So
okay,
there's that.
I have to ask you a question. What is your version of the plot?
Orphan girl trained her entire life to fight the demons that live inside her.
That's very poetic right there. I guess.
And sing.
And sing. That's an important part of the plot.
Yeah.
Probably the key part of the plot. So the music. All right. So obviously that's going to be a big thing. So I don't know if you're aware, but there's different versions available on Netflix. There's the sing-along version where I guess they put the lyrics on there, and then the regular. I'm assuming you watched the regular version.
I watched the regular. I was not interested in singing along.
So apparently this is just like, they did that with
Wicked.
Minecraft as well, where they had like the whatever party version of it, where I guess you just go fucking nuts. But I don't know how
Chicken
nuts.
Jockey!
Yeah, I don't know how nuts you're going to be in your own home, but you could do that without the whatever thing that they do. But I think that's kind of cool that they did that, and obviously it must have some type of following. It's the most viewed movie on Netflix, and there is we were band kids back in the day. We appreciate the arts. Do you like musicals?
I do like musicals.
Okay, any particular ones?
I mean, Wicked's pretty solid. Hamilton, like all of some of the older like '90s Andrew Lloyd Webber ones. Your Les Mis, your Phantom. I'm a huge Little Shop of Horrors and Rocky Horror Picture Show fan, so I appreciate musicals. The thing I don't appreciate is boy band, girl band type music. I grew up in much like you in the mid 90s, where Backstreet and NSYNC were kind of the thing that we as boys rallied against, not leaned into. And I feel like that, I was more into like rock, rap, and so on and so forth, right? I was very, for those of you from Chicago, I was very Q101, Rock 103.5, B96. I didn't venture into wherever they played the Backstreet Boys. I don't even know.
On B96.
I was more like
103.5.
the late night stuff. No, not Rock 103.5. They didn't play it.
Yeah. Eventually at 103.5 they did. But
yeah.
So
I was angsty Q101, I guess.
I wasn't a boy band hater. I actually I definitely liked NSYNC more than I hated Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys was the worst. And I remember telling my friend Pablo, if you're listening, so there was a time in high school where he first got his license, and we went to junior high together. Then we went to the mall when he first got his license, and he had his high school friends, and I was the only one that he knew from junior high. Everyone else is a high school friend. And Backstreet Boys, Quit Playing Games with My Heart. Is that a song? Maybe, I think.
You're asking the wrong person.
So I think it was. And that song comes on the radio, and one of his friends just starts singing his little fucking heart out to it. And I'm just like sitting there in the back passenger seat. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? What kind of friends are you making in high school, dude? You can drop me off. I'm out right now.
I mean, this from the guy that went to an all boys Catholic high school questioned the
musical preferences,
masculinity of these young men.
I can see the appeal for Backstreet Boys as well, but it was just fucking awful. But when it comes to the whole music thing, it is popular. I don't like popular music in songs. However, when it comes to a musical, obviously, we're definitely getting a lot of songs from these K-pop stars. And when they bring in the boy band, I was like, oh gosh, it's going to double down now. And the songs were catchy. I think I understand the whole K-pop phenomenon because they make it so bubblegum pop that you can't help but...
You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember the MTV band Together?
Yeah, of course, man.
That's what this poppy bubblegum sweet, to your point, music reminds me of. I was like, oh, they're doing calculus here.
I know my calculus. You plus me equals us.
Yeah,
so.
No. And that's what was running through my head the whole time. I'm just like, another Together song.
Oh, man. I can see, if you didn't like boy bands, that makes perfect sense to me. But I am, this is a chance to be able to bring in popular music because it is catchy as fuck. Don't tell me that you weren't like, okay, yep, I caught yourself tapping your foot or bobbing your head to it.
I will admit it was catchy, and it was written. The thing that surprised me the most about this movie in general is that they made the music in English.
I think they mixed it up a little bit. They used some Korean and
I don't remember a considerable amount of Korean, which I think has been a large amount of the gap in K-pop in the US. It's just like, while the tunes and the melodies are just as bubblegum and catchy, the lyrical portion of it is, it leaves some lost in translation. I thought that they did a great job of dubbing the movie. I'm going to assume it's dubbed. Or I would assume they released it in multiple languages. But I thought that there would be some level of Korean in this. Or like subtitles or something. There wasn't.
I don't think it was dubbed. I think it was all in English.
I used to work for a Korean-based company. They all spoke English.
Oh, yeah.
It's really funny that we in the U.S. don't speak any other languages. And every other country in the civilized world, they're at least bilingual.
Yeah.
And very tolerant of us simpletons. Everywhere I've gone internationally, they're just like, we speak English. It's okay. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just dumb. I have Google Translate.
But at least you're making the effort, right?
Am I?
I
just
know.
downloaded an app. It's okay.
Yes. But yeah, no, like the music itself was catchy. You agree that it's catchy, and I like musicals. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I do appreciate the musicals and the art of everything. I thought immediately, oh, now I understand as to why people like is it Juan Manuel Miranda?
Lin-Manuel
Miranda. Sorry, internet, Mr. Miranda.
I try.
But
Lin-Manuel Miranda is a national treasure.
I knew it. I just had a brain cramp. It's late. You know, we're sitting here. It's 4 a.m. right now.
It's 9:06 p.m.
Yeah,
Central.
that's right. Okay, it's 9:06. Sorry, I'm on different time zone. But it was reminiscent to me of Lin-Manuel Miranda and the little bit of Hamilton that I saw. Because that stuff is catchy. It's fun. It's catchy as fuck, and it's fun.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you've seen of Moana or
Zero.
Encanto. You have kids, but your kids are just...
I am a man.
Yeah, you're something. But everything. In the Heights.
I tried watching that, and I just didn't get into it.
Catchy. So catchy. There's even a How I Met Your Mother episode with Lin-Manuel Miranda in it, where they just do a ton of rhyming.
Oh, I bet it's fun. I bet it's fun.
I love me some Lin-Manuel Miranda.
But yeah, that's what it reminded me of. I was like, okay, I can see why people like this movie, because you got catchy music and the songs are going with what's happening. That's another thing to me that is like a no-no for pop music for me in a movie, is if it is not related to the scene whatsoever, and all it is just insert popular song just because it's catchy, but it has nothing to do with what's going on. That's what I liked about this, is that they're singing these songs and there's a purpose for it, and it's part of the story. It's not just, I like to take bubble baths, and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just random shit just to have fun with it. It is bubblegum pop, but at the same time on par with what the plot is supposed to be.
So you're more of an Armageddon than Godzilla 2000.
I did not watch either of those movies. I don't want to miss a thing, but I don't want to watch that movie either.
That is a solid 90s movie.
I'm sure it is. But
so
no, I've seen the TRL episodes where Aerosmith was just number one for like 90 weeks in a row. It's like, no, I can't. I'm not going to watch the movie. I already saw it on the music video.
I will say that your example about pop music that actually aligns with the movie, I feel like there's many times in that movie where it does. Versus the Godzilla reference was this. Those movies came out the same year, and both soundtracks were really big sellers.
But they were not related to the movies
the
at all.
Godzilla one was like P. Diddy and Robert Plant came together, and it's like it was a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it didn't add to the movie.
It was a music video.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's part of the reasoning as to why I didn't like a lot of 90s movies, because it was like, all right, just a music video. Don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of the songs, but watching the movie with it, if I were to watch the movies now, I would be like, yep, music video. That's exactly the MTV version. And I bet some of them were like MTV produced movies.
Well, like Goo Goo Dolls wrote Iris for City of Angels. Like that song's become, for some reason, very viral lately. It's been showing up in my feed a lot.
Well, it's because they put it in Deadpool and Wolverine. But I dated someone that really liked that song. They love that song. And so I never liked that song. But, hey.
Give him a shout out.
Ha! No, not a dude. In case anyone didn't catch that awesome joke that he did.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, man. But, okay. So, the animation. Dude, the animation was fantastic. I really liked it. There was a lot of anime callbacks. I love I can't remember which character it was, but the one that would always eat stuff. And like she would eat the noodles, and they would have like the typical anime face where it just like transformed into that. I was like, I love that stuff. And that's where I was chuckling and laughing and having a good time with the movie because it's doing some callbacks to typical anime, but also innovative animation style, just like Spider-Verse. And music's not bad. I'm enjoying the music. It's having fun. But animation, you thought the same thing. Anything that kind of stuck out to you from an animation perspective?
The thing that I will say is normally, historically, right, when we see something that is like, oh, it's next generation animation, especially from when we grew up, right? Like as you progress through the 90s and the early 2000s, some of the new waved animation was very weird looking. Like the initial computer generated CGI type animation versus drawn animation was very like blocky and Tronish, and it just was, you had to kind of suspend a little reality because you're like, this is not as good as it could be if somebody just drew this, right? Like unless it was like Toy Story, which was about things that were a certain, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they had a very specific shape, and they were, out of the realm of realism. There wasn't a lot of realism to it, and I thought that this rode that line very well. I recently rewatched some of the Clone Wars, the Star Wars, like the last season, and you see a lot of the animation in Clone Wars from the movie in the early 2000s to the show, just came so far, and upgraded a lot. And I think that this goes beyond that. You mentioned Spider Verse. Even Spider Verse sometimes gets a little ink and painty, a little ink blotty. This
Mhm.
was very, very solid, and I think it's like the high level of strong and consistent animation that is the best in class, if you will, beyond the softness sometimes that Disney puts out there,
Sure.
right? Not to mess with Disney. They definitely had the Disney character, Disney princess eyes, the big old eyes, and little round face thing, but that's an anime thing
Yeah.
too.
But Disney's also on not on that
Yeah,
same bar of animation anymore. So like, DreamWorks is
yeah.
stepped up their game and everything. So and obviously like a studio like I don't even know what studio this was that did this, but this is a perfect example. Spider-Verse, perfect example of how Disney and Pixar are no longer that authority and benchmark of animation.
Well, technology's just made things so much more accessible. Like Disney was revolutionary as Disney grew because Walt put so much money into the technology of the day. Like, and this is a very old reference, but like the way they shot things like those early movies, like Snow White and stuff like that, they stacked 20 different cells in a very high towered camera and would snap each frame with like 8 to 10 drawings in it. And that's how they would get the layered look and the depth and the perspective. And they put so much money into it. Same thing with, the early Pixar stuff. That was very Steve Jobs driven by high-end technology to really drive and grow that. But now, as technologies become more accessible and RAM and processors have kind of leveled out and it's all software driven and that software is available and so many more people are adept at using it. There's more education, there's more examples, there's tutorials, there's all that accessible knowledge to build that skill. And so many people are learning art in the digital world first.
Yeah.
I think that that's why we see that. And I'm all for it. Like, I am an animation fan regardless. I always will be. Like, some people, I don't know why, are, oh, I can't watch it. It's a cartoon. I don't care.
Maybe sometimes I'm like that, but do you have a preference on the type of animation? Like, do you prefer more of like a South Park look, or do you prefer more of a Pixar? Where Pixar has gotten so freaking good, though, where the background looks real, the
Mhm.
grass, the trees, the clouds, the sky looks real as possible, and then you got Woody and Buzz kind of clunking along.
For me, I like a more semi-realistic looking animation, but I'm open. Like South Park's its own niche. I don't want South Park to change. By the way, the current season of South Park.
Fire.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I've never been, I probably have the first 15 seasons of South Park on DVD in my basement right now. Right? Like I've had them. I was a huge South Park fan in college and in high school. The movie was something me and my wife watched endlessly. And the first episode where they do it,
Unreal.
and they bring back the voice, and they bring back, and it's just the same. And I'm just like, don't ever change. I'm glad they gave them $1 billion. They earned it.
Unreal. Yeah, that very, very just cutting edge. It's so fucking good. God. And we could just have an episode on South Park all day long.
I mean, we could. But in general, right? Like, I find that shows, if the style matches the show and the niche is there, I'm in on it. I don't like some of, like, the thing that I don't like is some of those shows I talked about, like in the 90s where stuff was very like weird, computer generated and animated. I wasn't a big fan of, but I think that the more modern stuff, they match pretty well to their genre. So I'm in it.
I like it. This is a more realistic animation, in my opinion. From what I don't like is a lot of the DC animation. It's because they look like
Which DC animation? If you say Batman the Animated Series,
like Batman,
I'm leaving.
I don't like that style of animation.
It was so genre specific with the throwback to like the 50s.
I get
angular.
I get it, but
beautiful.
My problem with it is that it is like Batman hit the gym and skipped leg day to the extreme. Like, he has issues with his legs. Like, he's got some type of degenerative disease where his ankles are the size of paper clips.
I mean, not everybody has congestive heart failure and really swollen ankles, Dan.
That's what my preference is. So, like, when X-Men had that same animation for like X-Men Evolution, and I was like, I don't really like this. So I'd like it more realistic. And granted, with this type of animation, with the way that the characters were, they were just normal people. Obviously, like, you got the dude with the abs was hilarious, and I love that they bring the fakeness and make it real. Like, as they're admiring this dude's abs and like popcorn's just popping out of their eyes, and then the one girl's eating the popcorn along with it. Hilarious. Like, everyone in my family was laughing at that. And that's a degree of silliness that I kind of like. Even though it's, like I said, I'm picking on like Batman, the animated series, and like that Superman cartoon. I just, they look like Johnny Bravo. Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. And
I think it's the tone that's different, right? I will say, this movie doesn't take itself too seriously. And the fact that it adds those jokes to what could be a very angsty kind of, oh, woe is me, I'm a demon kind of story. The funny keeps it going. It's what makes it balanced, I think. Where the animated series was supposed to be dark and brooding Batman. He was just a little yoked. That's just my thought process on it. I mean, he was like Batfleck. He was yoked.
Yeah. But back to the K-pop and the Demon Hunters. What about the demons? Did you like the plot of, these demons are trying to take over the world, and these K-pop stars are the ones that are holding them back with their little golden Nova Core type net?
It's not my place to judge the premise. As long as the premise is consistent, I'm okay with it. Like, it was consistent. It was consistent, and that's what I'm saying. Do I love that the villain is a really weird Soundwave picture? Is that my preference? No. But I will suspend judgment if it's a consistent drive, because I like Star Wars. Some people dislike the general aesthetic and world building that Star Wars provides.
Sure.
So when I watch something, I try and be a little less subjective to, well, that's unbelievable, because we're watching fucking science fiction.
Yeah.
Nothing's believable. But it's about consistency, because a lack of consistency can really destroy the story. And I think the problem for me wasn't the premise. It was more the lack of consistency of the powers of the weird sound wave devil guy. If he's an all-seeing devil, he should know that homeboy's trying to get it in with the demon chick, right? There should be like, that was the only part of the movie that messed with me from a storyline consistency perspective. So to answer your question, the singing, the demons, the golden sound waves of protection, it's fine. They're consistent with it. But it's just that villain that off balances it for me.
So Lee Byung-hun, also from the frontman of Squid Games, he was also Storm Shadow in the G.I. Joe movies. So that's who voiced his character. And I don't know I think the villain might be a weak spot, just because you have that as, if it was a demon, would you be okay with it?
You know
like,
who it
just
should
like
be?
a physical demon?
You know what I want? I want James Woods from Hercules. Like, I want a brooding, like, demon leader with flame hair and some sass.
Okay.
But in general, right? Like, it doesn't have to be solely demonic, right? There can be many forms and changes,
Sure.
but I think that putting a face or a body to it, it makes it more, I don't want to say accessible, but I don't know, it adds to the flavor. Like, who gets mad at smoke?
Yeah, I get that. And maybe part of that is supposed to be like, hey, you can't beat that. Like, I think from a good versus evil type of perspective, you can take down a man or someone that is in the shape of a man. But when it is a other godly, worldly being that doesn't have a shape, that physically you can't just take on yourself, then maybe that's part of it.
I disagree. There's a whole trilogy about that. There's a lot of walking in that trilogy.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, no, it's a very Sauron-esque villain, but without the generals that are hateable, right? Like, in Lord of the Rings, there's these, there's all of the dark characters and leaders and generals and orcs and all that stuff that are viable and you want to hate. The boy band characters spend so little time on the screen, except for the one that you hate the guy because his hair's over his face. Like, there's no, it's basically the Fat Albert crew, and you can't hate Mushmouth.
I don't know. I think you also have some of them poking fun of how K-pop bands are also manufactured, and that's exactly what they are. They are manufactured,
just like boy bands. There's documentaries about that.
Absolutely,
where fat single white men bring together a bunch of singing boys.
But to them, it's also a different caliber of pressure, which there's been a lot of publicity and controversy around K-pop stars because they basically, like, they get plastic surgery to look the way that they do, and like, that's expected. Like, oh, you wanna be a part of this? Better get some plastic surgery, get your eyes done, get your hair done, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do. And I guess there's like a high burnout rate of K-pop stars, and I don't know. I heard this on another podcast that there's a high rate of suicide for K-pop stars because of all the pressure that's put on them by the record label, by the self-imposed pressure on themselves from the fans, all that stuff.
Well, it's also a different culture.
Yeah.
Right. Like, in the US, the worst thing they do to boy bands is they frost the tips. Ask Justin. Right. Like, they mess with the hair.
That was
a
perm.
Bit.
That was a perm.
It was a perm with frosted tips.
True. Yeah.
It's crazy. But I think that Asian culture has a great amount of, like, honor built into it and expectations that are not to pursue good, but to exceed excellence, and that opportunities aren't to be wasted, and that, there's just this level of shame that is existent, right? I mean, we're talking about cultures that if you lost a battle, in olden times, right? You would fucking kill yourself with a sword in the stomach, right? Like it was a level of um, unrealistic self accountability.
Yeah. The
So
honor, right?
yeah,
The honor of it.
yeah, and it wasn't like you got a shot to redeem your honor. It was just I'm dishonored.
Yeah. The honor's gone. There's no way that it
Yeah,
can be
nope,
redeemed.
never, no redemption. And this whole movie is about redemption in a way.
Is it?
It is this one woman that saved this demon child and set her up to redeem the sins of her demon father by ending demons.
Yeah. I guess.
And then she falls in love with the demon.
Yeah. Which I thought there was going to be more to it than that. I thought the demon worlds, I didn't think that they were going to defeat the demons. I thought that they were going to overthrow the demon lord, and all of the K-pop boy band fans and all the other demons were just all going to be celebrated like, yeah, you can be a part of this world too. And you don't have to be demons because it's this what could be considered like a patriarchy is gone now. That you don't have to be controlled by this figure. You don't have to feel bad about yourself. You don't have to feel shamed about where you come from, who you are, what you like, and how you do things. So that was kind of like my reading into it, and I was hoping that something like that would happen because that would have been. I feel like that would have been the better aspect of things, like a more complete, instead of just girl power or just boy power. It's like no, it's just the good power. Like you get rid of everyone has demons inside them, right? Get rid of the demon, and you don't have to be ashamed of what happened in your past.
So the demon is. I feel like this movie uses demon and creates kind of a I don't want to call it miscommunication, but somewhat of a quandary because demon it's not they are demon the spirit the evil, but it's really caused by demon the shame the regret
Right.
and much like we were talking about where these Japanese cultures or these Korean cultures these Asian cultures don't always allow that redemption. So they're just demonized and they're just there. And because they don't allow themselves space to forgive themselves, they can't rise from their negative place. And that's the part about this that I think the name and the way they use demon in two layers created not confusion but less clarity than could have been, right? Like I don't know that the twist of I lied, I abandoned my family, was that hard hitting to me.
I didn't even think twice about it.
I was just like, okay,
yeah.
Well, you say you abandoned them, but it sounds like they just took the kid who sang good and put him in the castle as a captor, right? They told you you were free and all that, but you were still singing for the king or doing whatever for the king.
Yeah. It's that didn't. There was no emotional aspect of it for me.
Yeah, because I think that we don't. Even though I mean I don't know, I'm the oldest boy, and I don't feel an unreasonable force to provide or to keep safe. Like there comes a point where you got an adult, and also there comes a point where you make a decision as a child, and you have to realize you were a child. You have to let pain or thing you learn from things. You don't hold yourself accountable for this terrible mistake. We live for 80 to 100 years. How many mistakes? You make so many mistakes.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of forgiveness in the demonization. So it demonizes mistakes. And that's what they're doing. They're killing people who make mistakes. The whole point of the movie.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to kind of talk about this and discuss before we go into that pivotal question?
I normally wouldn't say something like this. I think this movie could have been 30 minutes longer. And I think they could have added more context. And I've never wanted more of a oh my god, why can't I remember the name of the movie? What's the Bruce Lee movie, Tower of
Game of Death?
Game of Death, where he goes different levels through things?
Yeah.
I've never wanted more of a Scott Pilgrim approach to the end, to the end boss than this.
Okay.
Right? There wasn't progressions through
Got
and
it.
discovery and resolution and team building. It was a lot of I felt like there could have been more build up to the end.
Okay.
Right? I feel like there could have been more there. Nothing Martha'd me per se, other than squiggly line non-existent Devilman, or Devil Sound, or Fart. It could have been a fart.
Maybe a nice bloody one.
A demon fart.
Bloody demon fart. There you go.
It's just, I made it funny. You made it weird.
No, that's you. I'm just riding off of that. Just what you tell me.
Before we ask that question, is there anything that sticks out to you? Is there any weirdness? Anything else about this pop demon hunting phenomenon that you either loved or hated?
Nothing Martha'd me, which is a good thing. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything was great. I thought it was good, but there's I kind of disagree with you on the build-up, because I felt that it was rushed a little bit. I think it could have benefited from being a little bit longer, but I don't think there was a lack of build-up, because I think that build-up was there. You've got these pop stars that are a force to be reckoned with, both from a entertainment aspect and from a demon hunting aspect. So you got these badass girls right then and there, and they're in a lineage of demon hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a quick, almost Incredible Hulk like recap, like at the beginning of a movie, and then you go into like, oh, one of them's a demon, and so there's that struggle right there. But you also have the shame, as you were talking about, like, okay, there's this shame that I'm a demon and I have to hide my true self, and even my aunt is telling me, no, you cannot show them your true self. Dude, that resonates and hits home really, really good with me. I grew up as a white suburban kid, because I had to hide who I was, because like, oh, can't be too Filipino or too Asian, because these white people are going to treat you differently. And so that was kind of like the weird thing for me. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I'm not saying it's right, but I could relate to that. So when they've got that aspect of the story, you bring in the boy band, who's obviously, there's the antagonist. At first I thought like, well, this is going to be a little bit weak. But then you have the main boy band guy who is with Rumi, and they're about to connect and everything. But I think that is a necessary plot point, to where you have to have some type of antagonist, and they do a good job of it. Like, okay, maybe I'm not completely against those guys, but then they flip back and forth on it, to where it's like, oh yeah, maybe they are just demons. And then it's like, oh wait, but the guy's like, he's not gonna kill her yet. Like but she's still. The one thing that it didn't bother me, but I was just a little bit perturbed about, is she goes to him to kill him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not even trying to defend. He's just like shrugging off her attacks. And it's like, how good is this demon hunter? She's not that great, obviously, because she's trying her hardest. And he's just like, nope, I'm just going to move over here. You're going to miss me. I'm going to teleport. You're going to completely whiff. So that was the only thing that I was like, ooh, she's not as good as she's portrayed to be.
Or she's going easy on him. But, that brings more to the length thing. I feel like there could have been even more, like, even if it wasn't more bosses, more conversations between main dude and Fart Man to really kind of dig out the small areas of their plan to break the golden mist, right? They're just, there could have been more. Is it good that it's a tight 90? Yes.
Mhm.
Are there some movies that shouldn't be 2 hours? Yes. So there's balance there, right?
Sure.
But for me to take this from serviceable to great, that adds, you got a lot of reflection from the good guys, right? You got that inner struggle there, but you didn't really see the planning on the bad guy part enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that is a small potatoes thing. It doesn't take away from the movie. Could it make it better? Yeah. But is what it is.
I've heard enough of the small potatoes, Mark. I need the meat. So I got a question for you. When it comes to the K-pop Demon Hunters, can you do this all day?
Surprisingly, I watched this movie all the way through. I didn't need a break from it and turn it off and say, I'll just, it wasn't like the carrot juice of animated movies where I'm like, I guess I'll drink the rest of this later. It was digestible. It was a familiar enough trope to where I rode with the story. So I don't want the perception of people to say Mark hated this movie, because that's all people talk about is what you and I say about movies, right?
Yeah. Only us. Only us.
We're the most important here.
The authority.
Yeah.
Some would say.
But I can't do this all day because it just doesn't sit in my wheelhouse genre of movies. I don't have an emotional attachment to demon hunting, anime, or K-pop, but this was a much more palatable version of all of those than many things I've been exposed to in the past. And if my son said, hey, I want to watch this, I wouldn't be like, I'm not watching that stupid movie. I'd be like, okay, we could figure it out. So I would participate in a rewatch, but I would not be the one initiating said rewatch.
Fair enough.
I think I have to ask you a question now. And it's about Kpop Demon Hunter. Can you do this movie all day?
So I'll break it down how I sometimes do. Music, even though it's pop music, catchy as fuck. There was the one song at the very end that just had me, like, it was humming in my head the entire night, and then the next day, and then that night. And whether I liked it or not is irrelevant. The fact that it was that catchy and stuck with me a couple days, I mean, hey, score a point for it, because that's the aim of that song, right? I'm actually kind of curious if I watch it again, I'll watch the sing-along version of it just to maybe get a different appreciation of the music and maybe pick up on some of the lyrics that are like applying to some of it.
Don't let it mess with you. It's his ringtone.
I don't even know the words of it. I was just like, and so that's all I remember from it, just the humming tune of it. But animation was sweet. It was a good time. It was funny. It had strong plot points, and I thought that there's, if you go into a critical reading of it, you can take it a lot of different ways. I even mentioned it a couple of things that I didn't even think of while I was watching it, but in retrospect of it, like, oh yeah, totally relates to this. And yeah, but the one thing that is keeping me from giving it an I can do this all day rating is the fact that I didn't like the way that it ended. It kind of just ended, and I would have preferred, and I think maybe there's going to be a sequel to it. I think there was talks about having a sequel just because it's so goddamn successful. But I would have liked, normally I don't like cookie cutter endings. I would have loved to seen a cookie cutter ending to where all those demons, like, they shed their shame and everyone is good. And everyone just fucking parties and rocks out at a concert.
You didn't like the ending from the Last Skywalker, the Rise of Skywalker, where Demon Kylo gives up his life force
Yeah.
to Demon Hunter Ray, and
Demon Hunter Ray.
they kill Soundwave Palpatine. Like, you didn't enjoy that?
No, it's I would have preferred in that type of storyline and that animation. Now, if they're going to do something in a sequel, fine. But if this is the only one that we get, I would have preferred the cookie cutter ending, where everyone from a feel good story. You like a feel good story, right? So a feel good story, everyone loses their shame. They're no longer ashamed of it, and everyone's just rocking out. That's what I would have preferred, and I'm sticking to it. So no, I cannot do this all day. Not because it wasn't entertaining, but not in my wheelhouse. But I would watch it again. You know, is it a? I think I would still recommend this movie, just not a. I have to be selective with who I recommend it to, right? Like that. That's one of the things. Like there are when I say I can do this all day, I will recommend the movie. No ifs, ands, or buts to anyone. There's no like asterisk of like, well, you got to watch 23 other Marvel movies in order to watch this one and like it. Like, no, that's not the case. And yeah, I'm as entertaining as it was. I think I had higher expectations, and so that was where it was a little bit of a letdown for me. But not disappointing. Just expectations weren't on the right bar. That's all. But that is wrapping it up for this episode. Always good to be with you to record a podcast, Mark. So this is only the third podcast that we've been able to do together. And that wraps it up for another episode. I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the Part-Time Avenger. That's Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, shout out to us at I Can Do This All Day podcast on all of the socials. Let us know what you thought about the demon hunting K-poppers. If you've made this your ringtone, and any other anime that you think that we should watch and probably not like that much, let us know.
We will see you next time.
Shame.